all you wonderful people out there in the dark. Thank you again for checking in. Now, I've been drinking a bit today, and I started thinking about time, what time is, how it encapsulates everything that we do in our lives. Work, play, sleep, movies, music, drinking, everything we do, time is involved. I was just saying, songs, we have songs about time. I'm late for a very important date. No time to say hello, goodbye, I'm late. If I could save time in a bottle, Time After Time, Cyndi Lauper's opus, Time of the Season by the Zombies, the band Time, the Time Warp, Let's Do the Time Warp Again, the Beatles' Yesterday, The Hazy Shade of Winter by Simon and Garfunkel. There's movies, Time After Time, Sleeper, Looper, Back to the Future, Time Cop, Interstellar, 2001: A Space Odyssey, 12 Monkeys, Time Machine, Time Bandits. Who could forget Fidget, Strutter, Randall, Og, Vermin, and Wally? I sure can't. Those are some cool cats. So we have movies, we have music, drinking. It's all around time. Work, play, everything is time. But do we really know what time is? Have we defined time? Have you defined time? What is time? Well, time is the indefinite continued progress of existence and events that occur in an apparently non-reversible, succession from the past through the present into the future. Let's do that again. So time is an infinite continued progress of existence and events that occur in an apparently non-reversible succession from the past through the present into the future. Almost like a car. Imagine sitting in a car. When you're looking through the windshield or windscreen for you Europeans, that's the future. In the rearview mirror, in the back window, that's the past. When you're in the vehicle, at that moment, that's the present. Future, present, past. So what does all this mean? Why do I care? I get it. I drink too much. But so let's talk about the concepts of time. Early on, people they tracked night and day, right? Sunrise, sunset, which by the way makes me nutso. The sun does not rise, nor does it set. The sun is fixed in space and we rotate around it. It is dawn and twilight. We really need to stop using words that we used long ago to describe something we didn't understand. The sun isn't moving, it's not going up or down. It's twilight and dawn. But this is how we used to measure our days. So, in speaking of that, what is a day? Well, it's 86,400 seconds, which is 1,440 minutes, which equates to about 24 hours in a day. But the problem is that's not terribly accurate because sometimes the Earth is spinning faster, right, for a day, and sometimes it's spinning slower. Not a lot, but it's enough. 400 million years ago, a year was 400 days, because each day was only 2,200 hours, because the moon was much, much closer to Earth, which was slowing its rotation. Today, the moon is moving away from the Earth, about 1 inch a year. And in about 50 billion years, it's going to settle into its orbit. And because it has moved away, the Earth is going to spin faster and rotate around the sun faster. So our days are going to get shorter, but we're going to get more days in about 50 billion years, which I realize you don't care about. But I'm getting off the topic. In 1884, the International Meridian Conference settled in on what was known at that time Greenwich Mean Time, which was where the Royal Observatory in London, Greenwich, London, was located, and that was 0 longitude. This was the measure that we were going to track time on. This is where time zones start to be developed, that concept. concept begins. We're beginning to understand that measuring time through the rotation of the Earth and the twilight and dawn of the sun isn't the most accurate. Well, that lasts from 1884. That continues until about 1960, when the time changes to a Coordinated Universal Time, UTC. I honestly don't know why it's not CUT, but it's Universal Time Coordinated. It was the Coordinated Universal Time in 1960. It was adopted in 1967, which is an important date. Keep 67 in your head here for a moment. And what ended up happening is Greenwich Meridian Time, or GMT, as it's known, really just becomes a time zone. It's also known as Zulu time today, which really affects Africa and most of Western Europe. So in 1967, we start using the International Atomic Time, TAI. Again, see how they mix up those letters? I don't know why they do that. I got to look that up. But now we've got atomic clocks, about 400 atomic clocks around the world. And we create universal time. And what universal time is, or UT1, or solar time. This is based off the Earth's rotation, but an important component that I'll get to in a minute that these clocks use that really, really make time very, very accurate. For example, in our time zones, like New York, Eastern Standard Time, it's listed by scientists as UTC-5 because it's 5 hours behind what once was known as GMT, or the UTC-1, basically that zero longitude. I don't know if that makes any sense. And then when you throw in daylight saving time, it messes everything up. And by the way, it's daylight saving, singular, not savings. Stop saying daylight savings. It's daylight saving time. Knuckleheads. But anyway, so in 1967, what happens is a cat named Essen, he basically takes cesium. And what cesium is, it's a metal. I actually have some right here. I'll show you a picture here in just a second. It is on the periodic table of elements. It is a very, very important material. Here's my periodic table of elements. Yes, I have one because I'm a nerd. Anyway, take a look at this picture. You'll see the cesium, and you'll see where it fits on the table of elements. Take a look. So there's cesium. And why is cesium important? Well, I'm going to tell you why. In 1967, it became the official definition of a second. Again, like I talked about earlier, we've had sundials, lunar calendars, solar calendars, and it was all based on the rotation of Earth, which we now know isn't exact. The Earth speeds up and slows down. We are currently going much faster. Well, in 2021, we're going a millisecond faster than we were in 2020. So over time, we're speeding up, slowing down. So the cesium, what they discovered in 1967, is that it basically, when it's heated, without getting too deep into the science, it flips back and forth at a second, and it does this across the universe. So it's standard, no matter where it is at, it exists everywhere. It is the definition of a second. And by using that, our atomic clocks, or cesium clocks, are very, 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 very accurate. Because what's the most important thing in the universe? Time, assuming it exists. And Einstein gets into his theory of relativity, which is energy equals mass times the speed of light squared, right? E equals mc squared, which is an interesting concept and a conversation for another day. But when you hit cesium with a laser, like I said, it starts to pulse and flip, but that flip is a second. Back and forth, back and forth, back and forth is a second. And it is at the moment, the most accurate measure that we have for time. Now in 1927, this cat named Arthur Eddington put out a concept of the arrow of time, because I know what you're thinking about. What about traveling through time? Einstein's theory of relativity is somewhat based on that. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. And the idea of the arrow of time is that time flows in one direction, which generally you believe to be true because you can't go back in time. That would create a paradox, right? Think of all the movies that have those paradoxes. We try to make excuses at the end of the day. And in order to travel, how can you travel faster than light? Because you have mass. Light has no mass, so the drag of your mass means you can't get to the speed of light. Maybe. AM, PM, that's ante-meridian and post-meridian. So what is midnight? We have AM and PM, but midnight, it's neither pre or post. Long ago, we had the Julian calendar. Then we moved into the Gregorian calendar in like 1582, which is why there's April Fool's Day. So long, long ago, we were still obsessed with time. And what does the word clock even mean? If you work its way back between the French, Latin, it sort of settles in on a German word, which is basically bell. And bells are what we mark by C. Every hour they would ring a bell. I'm not sure exactly what that means either, but I don't know, it all fascinates me, and I wanted to share this moment of fascination with you. When I drink a little less, I'm gonna dive into this some more, and I think we'll do a series on time and talk about it in a more realistic way. Or we're gonna have to break it down some, because the possibilities are infinite when you think about time. What's that, Sancho? No, I already talked about the songs. No, who? Alanis Morissette. Ironic. What does that have to do with time? And that song is not ironic. No, listen, winning the lottery and dying the next day, that's not ironic. That's good luck followed by bad luck, right? It's not, that's not ironic. It's just not. And rain on your wedding day, that's just a bummer. Or the death row pardon 2 minutes too late, that's just a bummer. That's poor planning. Nothing in that song is ironic. Who are you talking about ironic anyway? Myra? Myra knows. No. Look, you want the perfect definition of ironic? The band Survivor, right? Now, I guess you could argue that Miss Morissette's song, Ironic, there's nothing in the song that's ironic. And if that was her point, by default, the song itself is ironic? Maybe. But in the song, all those lyrics, there's nothing ironic in any of those lyrics. Those are all coincidences, at best. Go away, Sancho. Go do something. Go build a time machine. Sorry, everybody. Okay, I'm going to work on another video, and we're going to dive into this time thing with a little bit more detail. I think that's important. I'm going to finish my drink, and I'm going to go pass out. But in this world, where you can be anything you want, you be kind, you be humble, you be forgiving, and you, what, Sancho? V8 Jews? It's a juice. What do I know about V8 juice? No, I understand. Yes, it's a conundrum because its main ingredient is tomato, and tomato is a fruit, so how could it be considered a vegetable juice? Yes, no, in V8, no, there's 8 vegetables in it. I forget, it's celery, beets, well, tomatoes, although that's not a vegetable, carrots. I forget what else, but the V8, it stands for 8 vegetables, including tomato, and tomato is a fruit, not a vegetable. But people argue, stop talking to me. I'm trying to finish this video. No, I don't want to get into Fahrenheit versus, go do something. Thanks, buddy. Sorry. In this world, when you can be anything you want to be, you be kind, you be humble, you be forgiving, and you be melting snow. More on time later. Bye-bye.